Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
This is our YouTube channel. Subscribe to this channel and give this video a like.
Podcast below in the descriptions. Check it out.
Can't help but watch the playoffs, John, and Brady, and wonder about what could have been for the San Francisco 49ers. Tom Brady won a playoff game this weekend. I thought the GOAT graphic they had with postseason wins, with him at the top of the mountain, ahead of Montana, almost double, right? I think Montana had 16 playoff wins. Montana's last playoff game, many of us remember that game. He was 38 years old, John. He was 5 years younger than Brady is right now.
Did you see the visual they had of the oldest guy to play in an NFL quarterback?
Oh my God.
NFL playoff game, or it might have been regular season game, but it was Blanda
Oh
and
my
Brady.
God, your
and
tweet
one dude,
was so good.
He looked like he was 67, right?
And he was.
Do you think it's cigarettes? Was that the
42,
main cause?
right?
Cigarettes age? Yeah, 43 or 42. I mean, whatever.
I would say a variety of things, right? Cigarettes, travel was just a grind relative to what it is now, probably. Diets were awful. Just out so much more alcohol.
A normal meal in like the late 60s, early 70s for lunch, burger and a shake.
Not a lot of salad. Yes. Not a lot of greens.
Like, do you think the chicken Cobb salad existed in
but again,
1969?
Back to your original point, they would smoke cigarettes during games. Now guys get oxygen tanks. They would smoke cigarettes. So yes,
and Tom's
the
gone
rules, John. The rules
way.
In terms of protecting quarterbacks were on a different planet at the time. They didn't.
But I'm just talking about his face.
I know.
I'm talking about the way the guy looks.
He probably worked in the off season, another job.
There were a couple shots of Brady
blacksmith.
leaning over, and guy, it looked like he had a hairpiece on, like it was kind of patched on, like you could
Brady?
see the way the plugs.
Well, that'd be the only flaw.
Not a great night for Brady's hair game.
That'd be the only flaw, because everything else, he looked great. And you think about where we are now, trying to find a way for the Niners to get like 12. Cam Inman had a really good tweet. I don't know if you saw it the other day. He's like, I've been following along. I'm pretty sure this is what the Niners lineup's going to look like. And then he listed just like Stafford, Trey Lance, Deshaun Watson, just everybody. It was like 9 guys. I mean, it's a stark contrast to where the Niners are right now. The Bucs are in the playoffs with Tom Brady.
I actually think on that list, Wentz was a backup. That
He might have been.
Guy, he threw for. Say one thing about the Washington football team: their defense is pretty good, and their front seven's really good. He threw for 380 yards on him, and you just watch him. For example, Big Ben and Breeze, in my opinion, are shot. Like they're over the hill. And you can still play when you're over the hill. When I watch those two guys, you could make the argument like Ben's even worse. They're both bad in their own little ways. The way both of them were Hall of Famers, they no longer resemble that guy to me. And I would imagine over some beers, their head coaches, Tomlin has been around what? I mean, 88% of Ben's career. I think I saw Coward this morning was interviewing Rivers, said that he was with Ben for 3 years. So if Roethlisberger's been in the league for 17, 18, I mean, Tomlin's been with him the majority of the time. Peyton was with Breeze the entire time. Breeze was Breeze. And it's like those guys, like I'm watching Tom Brady. I don't think he has much in common with them besides like they're just all in the same generation. But like his game, like what is Brady, when you just watch him, besides you know how old he is, he looks like he did 5 years ago when the Patriots won a Super Bowl, right?
I would just say on the most basic level, his arm looks much better than both Breeze and Roethlisberger's arms. And maybe
looks
Garoppolo's.
like normal Tom Brady. Right? Well, Tom Brady has a better arm than Garoppolo. To me, Tom Brady's arm is probably his defining characteristic is, his mind and his accuracy and working the pocket. But just throwing the football has always I don't know if he quite gets enough credit because he always like, greatest quarterback ever, all these wins. I don't think we ever just talk his pure arm. It's not like if it was a pitcher 99, but he's throwing 94 and he knows where it's going.
To me, his velocity to the sideline isn't like A1, right? Grade A. Yeah. But his deep ball, like you think about the Randy Moss year, his deep ball was, sometimes, I put it up there with in that year. His deep ball consistently to me is one of the most beautiful. I put Michael Vick's deep ball up there when it was on target, but it was just gorgeous to watch him throw it.
Russell throws a beautiful looper. He did yesterday too.
Russell's looper is fantastic. But I mean, Brady to me threw one of my favorite deep balls of like the quarterbacks that we've watched in the last 20 years, and he's still
if the Niners had a do-over, I think without hesitation, Jimmy Garoppolo would have been gone because they would have traded him. The difference is Jimmy's offseason, like what would he have been worth to Belichick? Would Belichick just have traded back a second for him? Probably, right, last year.
Yeah.
And the Niners would have taken Tom Brady. Now, I'm not saying Tampa was more equipped this year than the Niners would have been offensively for him, right? They had Godwin, Evans, and then they signed AB and traded for Gronk. With Cameron Brate's not bad.
And then they added Leonard Fournette.
They signed Leonard Fournette. Their offense was really those guys played in way more games than the Niners guys played. So if I'm just going to assume Debo in and out, Ayuk misses some games, Kittle breaks, foot. What was his first injury? The knee,
The Garoppolo knee.
Tom wouldn't have been as good.
Yeah, and I think
the Niners are way better with Tom Brady. Right?
You also assume in that the Niners offensive line would have been able to keep Tom healthy. Which last time.
But I think the way Tom plays, he just gets rid of the football.
He does get rid of it fast, but I'll just mention. Now you're right. Mullins plays very differently than Tom Brady plays. But Niners quarterbacks did get hit more than any other quarterbacks in the NFL this year. But
I do think they play.
They do. Just like Breeze, it's hard to hit Breeze because he gets rid of the ball quickly, even though he's not that mobile, right? But yeah, I mean, as someone who was fine with them not doing it, with hindsight, and
we were wrong
with what hindsight's 2020, especially on this in 2020. That would have been. Now, here's the other thing: you do have. Well, how much is Brady making next year? However, this ends for the Bucs,
25, yeah.
They'll feel okay about running it back. If you make the playoffs, you're okay. But then again, the Niners were in that position. They had just played in the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Like, that's the other thing. It's like everything we saw that happened in 2020 had not happened yet. They had just played in the Super Bowl with Jimmy, and he was one throw away from winning the thing.
I think our logic was very sound. But just looking back, Jimmy Garoppolo has proven he just gets hurt a lot on basic things, and Tom Brady had one of his best statistical seasons of all time. But like I said, you got to preface it with he's playing with Mike Evans, who's a star. Godwin's, I had to look. He's a free agent this year. He's going to get paid. And Antonio Brown, like the last couple of games, been coming on. And you have to remind yourself he's Antonio Brown.
It's hard to remind yourself of that, isn't it, sometimes?
It is. So next year, they're on the hook $25 million. So
okay. But, again, that's even before Jimmy got hurt, it's not like injury was the only thing we talked about with Garoppolo this year. I wasn't sure. It looked like he was about to trend in the wrong direction before he got hurt as a player. And that
I think Tom Brady, and the bar is really low, but he's already one of the best things that's ever happened. And again, their bar is one of the lowest in the league, but one of the best things that's ever happened in their franchise. Like they nailed that one,
and
right?
He nailed going there,
and he nailed it's been a win-win, even though it probably hasn't been as smooth. But I think when you look back, no practice, the Corona stuff, no off season. They're in the second round of the playoffs. He'll sign up for that all day long.
Yeah.
It was his first ever wild card game.
Well, he's usually off.
You see that stat going around?
Only because you told me the other day that Tom's never played this weekend.
Yeah, never played. So it had to feel a little bit like, we're at like a 3 or 4 star hotel, but I've been staying at the Four Seasons for 20 years. Never played in wild card weekend?
Yeah,
it's not a bad thing to play in wild card weekend.
No, to me it's like I watched the Bee Gees documentary the other day. Have you seen that on I don't know if it's on HBO or
no, I haven't.
But the Bee Gees, great band, basically brothers. I'm not going to do a Bee Gees. I mean, they're very famous. But they kind of the first wave of their career, it's going downhill before they ended up reinventing themselves. But there's a point where they're still doing their touring, but they're not really touring in places that like the band that they used to be would tour. That to me was kind of Brady. Like he's still, we're on tour. But if you really dig in, you're like, but you're on tour at like that place that a magician opens for you, right?
Yeah, he's never going to be remembered as a Buck. But if he can pull off, if he beats Breeze, beats Rodgers, and beats Mahomes, it will be icing on the cake that Mahomes, but it'll be whatever Michael is or Tiger, like this guy's in his own fucking world.
Yeah. He's already on a level by himself, and it would take it to another level.
And he's got this runway kind of out right now that he goes, well, he's facing Breeze and the Saints for the third time, and they've got their ass kicked twice. I already like the Bucs. I haven't even seen the line. I like the Bucs. The Packer game, he's going to get to go. I want the Packers to beat the Rams because I want Packers Brady. And when you think when I think greatest cold weather quarterback of all time, it's like without hesitation, I think Tom. So it's like we get our home game at Lambeau and we got to face fucking Tom Brady. It's like you would never, as an NFC team, you're like, he's just over there. And now you just look and you're like, we're one game away from the Super Bowl and Tom Brady's walking out in Tampa.
The Bucs did kick their butt the first time they played too.
And they've already kicked our ass.
Now that game, I think the game was a little bit of a fluke, but yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, to me, the Packers, because this year with no fans, like their home field advantage is it's snowy, it's freezing cold. And then Tom happened to come to the NFC, and then more than likely he's getting Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I hope that's what I'd want. That would, as a sports fan, I'm rooting for Tom to rattle this thing off.
I'm with you.